Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another new episode. As you can see by the title and the setup we have today, I am doing another unboxing. Um, this time, I am going to do this set of, that's a bit of, Thunder on the Water Hydroplane Racing cards. This is a set of 25, so it won't be as crazy as the last set we did, which was like 100 cards. Um, but yeah, I'm excited about this. These I think are from 1991, but I have no idea what's going to be in here. This is an unopened set. There was a couple of these on eBay, but this was like the plastic had like word the best, so I bought this one. I have a couple of the singles because typically I buy these in the little single forms, but the eBay seller I buy from is like on vacation right now, so I had to hunt a little bit. But the single ones I have are Vilwalk. This is just, I always say it's the best thing I've ever bought. And then I have Miss Budweiser and a Miss Thriftway. So while I get into that and try to open this, we gotta talk about Sebring because wow, that was just that was relatively easy. Look at me go. Sebring was a lot for a lot of reasons. Um, I mean, endurance racing is always a lot, but this was a lot. In the last episode, you guys saw us make our predictions because Emu and I have our little predictions race for this year we're doing all of the endurance races in IMSA plus the um like the championship in IndyCar and NHRA because we did that last year. Um, but as far as predictions go, because it was so insane and nothing I don't think went down the way anyone thought it would, I ended up with 5 points and she ended up with one. And sorry to Quackers, our mod, who ended up with no points. He almost got a couple, but things happened. um, okay. So let me do the thing because I got into them. So these are now it's H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Racing. That's kind of what they call themselves. The APBA is I I think it's like their I don't know, is that the governing body of hydroplane racing? But these ones are from when it was the Unlimited Racing Commission, and you'll see that in the top corner of all of them. So yeah. I don't know what we're gonna get out of this, but let's get into it. You guys kind of already saw the first one. We have the iconic Atlas Van Lines, 1977. Um, I know they refer to it as the Blue Blaster. That's funny. Um, Bill Munsey, who was a legend in hydroplane racing, he did a lot for the sport. Um, I believe he drove this boat, but in my childhood, my youth, my growing up, I recognize Chip Hanauer as being associated with the Atlas Van Lines. All right, then we have, oh, that's fun. I don't think I've ever seen this one before. We have the Miss Circus Circus, 1980. Some of these I won't know. Um, yeah, because this one had a different design. Because normally, like these ones and all the other ones you'll see have like the 3-point configuration. And this one has the 4 point. It looks like, if you remember from like 10 years ago in sports car racing, like the whole Delta Wing situation, that's kind of the similar shape. But I don't think the Miss Circus Circus in this configuration was, did I show you this back already? Was very competitive, which is why they don't do the 4 point. Oh, I like this one. This is not the best picture to show the design. And if I can find like a pin or like a patch or just like a single card that has a better picture of this, then I'll buy it. But this is the Mr. Pringles 1988. But it was like Pringles, and it was also, you can see on the back, it has Jif. It's basically like the grocery store hydroplane. I love it. Because snacks. And who doesn't love to see your favorite snacks represented? And there's the back. Okay, ooh, yes. An icon. A classic. Something people would argue over because they were so competitive, from 1990. Miss Budweiser. Um, there were many. Is this the same one? Where did I put that? Is this the same one that I have? No, I have it in a different color. So that's the one I already had. That's like the white one, and this is like the red and gold. There were many, many, many different colors and configurations of the Budweiser boats, but that didn't stop them from just absolutely dominating everything. I think, let's see. Yeah, so these are from 1991. It says in 1986, um, after they switched their engine program, it really like changed the game for them. Engine program, whole switch. And at this point, they had the highest winning percentage, 4.458 of the turbine era, with 22 victories in 48 races. And it just even got better from there. It's crazy. Mm. We also have from 1990. This is a slightly different design. I've never seen this one before. The Winston Eagle. Mm. Oh, this is fun. So, my knowledge of hydroplane racing starts in like the mid to late 50s. Anything before that, I don't know. But this one we have from 1957, the Miss US 1, which is kind of a cool design, but it's also so crazy because they were just like open top, let's go. Like, even the difference like between, like, I mean, the difference between this one and this one to what, and even this one to what we have now, really is staggering. Hydroplanes have come a long way, just like in design and also just like safety. Let's see. What fun factoid is on here? Miss US 1 is best remembered for her never to be equaled mile straightaway record of 200.419 miles an hour at Guntersville, Alabama in 1962. That's insane. Like, hydroplanes now will easily reach speeds of over 200 miles an hour, but in 1957, with this design going 200 on the water, girl, not for me. That's crazy. Oh, well, look at that. Apparently, I need to do a deep dive to see when this started because I am like in shock right now. Miss Golden Gate, 1936. Oh, 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 wow, that glare. I had no idea that they were even doing that then. All right, what's next? The Miss Peps V. I think I assume it's 5. Is it V5? Or is it 10? I think it's 5. 1947. First Gold Cup winner to use an Allison engine. That's a fun fact. It says, although sponsored by Pepsi Cola, the full corporate name could not be used because of a ban on commercial sponsorship. That's crazy. Imagine going to like a NASCAR race or an IndyCar race and you have teams that are sponsored, but they can't fully say the team because they just decided there was a ban on corporate sponsorships. No one would do anything. All right, then we have the Skip Along 1949. It's kind of a cool one. I like that. It looks sleek. First post-war winner of the Harmsworth Trophy at Detroit in 1949. Oh, it sank. It sank during an exhibition to the bottom of Lake Tahoe, where she would lay unretrieved for many decades. Well, that's a little bit sad. But I assume that means they retrieved it at some point, which is good. So the reason that we're able to see, I don't know if I mentioned this, some of these are like old school original photos that have been like put to color or that type of situation. But they do at the hydroplane, or there's a hydroplane museum here. I don't know if it's like the only one, but they have a lot of the old boats and they will bring them out during Seafair weekend for exhibition runs, which I love because to hear to see the difference is one thing, but to hear the difference between the piston power and the turbines, it's the best noise. So what we have next is the slow motion from 1950. Most of these have like they all have like a competition number. So like Budweiser is like U1 and this one is the U27, which is I think most of the time how a lot of people refer to them. That's or at least they used to. I think yeah, because some of them do have like okay, here's the thing. So back in the day when I was growing up, it was a lot of like the because some of them are still like that. Um, like the Miss Budweiser or the Miss Thriftway. But that calling about like Miss, that is something that even if it's not officially like in the title, people will still do. I think I do that sometimes. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of ways you can refer to a hydroplane, whether it's just straight up by its name, like the way it's printed on here, or adding Miss, to whatever the front of it is, or calling it by its number. 9 out of 10 times people will know what you're talking about. Well, see, these numbers are different. I wonder when they switch to the U designation, or if it was like a different class thing, because this one is from 1953. It's the Such Crest 3, but it says G22. So I wonder if it was like a class thing, because everything now is, like I said, it's U. I think this was kind of like a, from what I'm reading, this particular boat was a little bit of like a hybrid because it had the twin Allisons, which was supposed to like combine, it was supposed to, yeah, like a hybrid. So it combined the power that had the Allisons of the Miss Pepsi, and it had the whole design of the slow motion. But apparently, it didn't work very well. Proved no match for the smaller single engine boats. Well, you know. Well, see, I know this one. Not the design of it, but this one. From 1958, we have the Hawaii Kai 3. It's the U8. The glare. It was not sunny when I set up for this, so I left the blinds open because it's the first day of spring, but the weather's been like sun, rain, clouds, no clouds. Oh, here we go. So we have another version of the same boat. Mm, yes, but also not yes. A slightly different version from 1958 of the Miss Thriftway, which used to be a grocery store. I don't know if they exist in how many states they existed, but it was a grocery store that I grew up with. Okay, so this one, particular one, was the second of the three Miss Thriftway hydroplanes. It says, best remembered for hitting and sinking a U.S. Coast Guard patrol boat when the rudder let go during Heat 2A of the 1958 Gold Cup race on Lake Washington. Oh man, can you imagine? All right, then from 1958, we have the U-25, the Miss Spokane, called the Queen of the Inland Empire. Community sponsored, had a hole that duplicated the Miss Wahoo. I know that one. Okay. Renamed Miss Eagle Electric in 1963 and last race in 1967 as Miss Lapeer. Fun historical racing facts. I would love I would love to go to the Hydroplane Museum for like a bunch of reasons. But I think it would be so fun to just like shoot some content there and just nerd out over hydroplanes. Right, then from 1962, we have the U-40 Miss Bardall. Hey, Quackers, what's up? Yeah, so this is one of the boats that was really kind of like the leader in um, successfully representing commercial sponsorships on like a large scale. Because that name is iconic and synonymous with hydroplane racing. Like, oh yeah, Miss Bardall, I know that. Even if I don't know what it looks like, I've heard of it. Oh. Then we have from 1964 the U3 Tahoe Miss, which is backwards in my mind. Let's see. One of the most competitive boats of her day. Love that. Wow, lots of trophies. National High Point champion in 1966, winning the APBA Gold Cup, the British Columbia Cup, the Diamond Cup, the Indiana Governor's Cup, all the cups. One hell of a trophy case. All right, then from 1964, we have the Miss Exide, the U101.5, like the radio station. You can kind of see the driver in this one. He looks like he is getting ready to take off and go into space because that's kind of how they dressed. Because everything was so, with the open cockpit, you really had to wear all the safety equipment. Well, the original was destroyed, which is not great. But then the new one, which I assume is the one that is on this card. Yeah, the new one came along and was one of the three fastest boats on the circuit, along with the last two I just showed you. Miss Bardall and the Tahoe Miss. It's pretty cool. Ooh, okay. So this one, I have seen this one. I didn't really know this was a thing that existed until recently. Um, this is the from 1964, the U7 Notre Dame racing boat. Um, this is a set that they made in 1991. I don't know why, if it was just like a promotion, like a weird promotional thing they did that featured the old ones, but this is from the 90s. But it was unopened. So the story behind this is the university actually had nothing to do with it. I think it was that the owner just liked the school and he wanted to honor it, so he asked them, or she asked them, they asked them, I can't remember, um, if they could use the name. And they said, yeah, which I think is super cool. There's a button, I think it's a button that I saw. I have saved on eBay somewhere. Oh, okay. Where's that other one that I just had? This one. So this is another Miss Budweiser, but this one is from 1965 when it was the U13, and you can really like see the difference. And there's even a difference. I have 3 generations of Budweisers right there. And that's like the tip of the iceberg. Hydroplane racing is a crazy sport. I mean, as is all forms of boat racing to me. And it's crazy to see it in person. Like the first time, I remember the first time I saw hydroplane racing in person, I was 4 years old. Yeah, I was 4 because that was my first seafair. And seeing that rooster tail for the first time, whew, it's a crazy experience. Yes, these are the ones that do the circle, not the drag boat racing ones. Never actually been to a drag boat race. So next we have one I've actually never seen before from 1968. I can't even see the full number. It's 8 something. 80 maybe? The just says Smirnoff. Didn't know that was actually a thing. Let's see. They called it the pickle fork configuration because they dropped the bow back and the sponsons were rather protruding. That's crazy. I've never seen. I think that they did it this way so there was like less chance of the boat to like flip over, which is crazy. But yeah. Oh, I already showed you the front. That's the back. Yeah, it's definitely a crazy experience. I recommend. Then we have, oh, this is a very, very local name boat. From 1970, the Iberian Lady, the U4. Oh, let's see. Finished second in the Seattle Seafair Regatta, decisively winning the final heat and defeating the overall winner with Budweiser in the process. That's cool. Oh my god. What in the world? Okay, so this one's from 1970. It's like the longest title for a boat ever. It's Pack and Pay's Lil Buzzard. What? It's the U double O. What in the world? You really could like call a boat anything and they just be like, "Yup, that's it." That is so funny to me. Brief but spectacular racing career. First race San Diego, 1969. Won both of the heats. That's pretty cool. 1970, turned the fastest heat of the year, going 108.433 miles an hour on Lake Washington. Look at you go. All right, we have 3 left. From 1971, the Miss Madison. So, I think, I don't know if that's correct. I'm not going to say it if it's not. Um, says the city of Madison, Indiana has the distinction of being the oldest ownership in the history of unlimited racing. Since 1961, Miss Madison has traditionally served as the host boat at the annual Madison Regatta, which they still do. I think it's the same because there is the Miss Home Street Bank, the U1, I think it is, from Miss Madison Racing. I think it might still be the same. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, they still have, or do they still? I don't know. Is the overall answer for that. From 1973, this is a simple one, just the U95. There you go. No pomp and circumstance to that one. First turbine-powered unlimited hydroplane to enter competition. What? Attended the 1973 Seafair race, but didn't start a heat until the 1974 Champion Spark Plug Regatta at Miami. That is a hell of a name. Oh. Oh. It says, oh, it was going so good too. It says took second place in the Kentucky Governor's Cup at Owensboro, then sank in 1974 at the Seattle Gold Cup at Sand Point when an engine exploded. Well, I feel like that doesn't really happen a lot these days. Like you'll see fire will shoot out the back, but there's not a lot of sinking that goes on, which I think we can all be grateful for. Although they will still occasionally flip over the top. Someone will have a blowover. It happened, I think, a couple times last year. It happened to Vilwalk. But yeah. Yeah, a couple of these. It was like, oh, it sank. Which one was it? It was this one. The really weird, the 4 point. No, it's not this one. It was one of these other ones sank to the bottom of Lake Tahoe and sat there for like decades. But yeah, apparently these would sink. And now they're very floaty, even if you flip them upside down. Um, so if you flip a boat, most of the time they will land like right side up the way they're supposed to. But on the off chance that they don't, they now have hatches in the bottom so the drivers can kick their way out and they'll just be floating there. But they don't really sink anymore. All right, and the last one, card number what? 25? Yeah, card number 25, 1976, Dionysus. Interesting. Okay, so I mentioned Chip Hanauer earlier. Um, this apparently was the vintage craft that introduced him to unlimited racing in 1976. And it had quite the history. Starting in 1957 as the Breathless 2 and ending as Jose Murphy's in 1983. And in between that, appeared as Blue Chip, the Loner, Miss Wickman, Shaky's Special, Sunny Jim, Barney Arms, Barney Armstrong's Machine. Then there was this one, Tad Dean's Body Shop, Ingram 69, Schrader Wood Stoves, Precision Marine, Lil Old Lake City, and others. Apparently, there were so many they couldn't print them all on the card. Never in my days have I heard of a boat having so many names. That's crazy. But that was a long time to be competitive. So, good on you for that. But yeah, that is this set, all 25. Um, like I said earlier, I would love to go to the Hydroplane Museum and do some stuff. I'm also still, someone can clip this and send it to H1 Unlimited. I would love to do some work with them this summer. Y'all need a pit reporter, hit me up. I'll shoot some content for your social media channels. Let's do something. That would be so, so, so fun. But yeah, that was fun. I like that. I learned a lot and I'm gonna go Google some things after the show and learn some more. Um, I think real quick, because I didn't really address it, I said some things at the beginning, but I think we have to address Sebring because what the hell? If you guys follow me on Twitter, then you would have seen a lot of my opinions throughout the race. And if you don't, I think this is the command. Yeah. Um, you would have seen most of my opinions, but I think the thing one of the things I took away, besides the fact that it was just fucking insane, is the fact that it was like a giant free for all. Like, I have questions. um, I also think that we all definitively, I mean, people know this, people say this. I've said it before. I don't know if I've publicly said it as much, but I've said it before. Um, we got to do something about LMP3s because they just they cause so much goddamn chaos and carnage. I don't think it's worth it at this top level of racing to, I mean, typically you have them seeing, no, you see them just having a field day with like the GTs, but we were treated to the unique uh, experience of them bashing into the GTPs, which, not great. I think we have to really make some reconsiderations because while it might not be every driver or every LMP3 team, we got to do something because you can't have that. This is like, it's too much. And you really can't blame it and be like, oh, it's the bumps at Sebring. No. I mean, that's still my question too. Like, what was he even thinking? Because if he was trying to like take the wave around, there was no reason during a caution to jut out like that, like he was trying to make a move for position. It was so stupid, and it was an expensive mistake. And I think IMSA needs to review the license of whoever was driving at the time. Because from what I understand, it's also not that difficult to gain a license to do LMP3. I think there's like a checklist of like a couple things and you have to have it signed by someone and then they're like, okay, have fun, which maybe that's not the way to do it anymore. Um, so yeah, I think that has to be addressed. And the thing that I really think also has to be addressed is the fact that the Penske Porsches were hitting literally everything and everyone in sight. Why were they doing that? Like, I really, for the first time, because I saw the driver list, I know who these guys are. For the first time, I really questioned, like, what was happening. Like, you were like the most professional. Why are you out there driving like that? And it was, yes, there was no reason for it. If they wouldn't have done that, they probably could have won because they weren't slow at all. They had pace. I mean, it just, I would love to, if I would have had the time between then and now, I would have loved to have some of the drivers that had interactions with them, like, call into the show. But there was no reason for that first major incident that they had with Gradient Racing and Mark Miller. They didn't, he moved all the way over and gave them the room. And then they just decided to bash into him anyway and take his whole fucking headlight in the front of his car off. Like, for why? There's no reason for that. And then the incident with Philippe Albuquerque at the end. Here's my take on that. I think what happened, like those two were fighting anyway. So yeah, you can maybe call part of that a racing incident. But what didn't need to happen was that Penske Porsche two times hitting that Ferrari that was in front of him and sending that Ferrari into that Corvette and both of them going off and both of their races being fucked at the end. Like, it just, this isn't the level of sportsmanship that you expect. Like, you want tight racing, you want exciting battles, but I don't want it to be done in a dirty way. If it's going to be dirty, I have no interest in it. And that's just, the fact of the matter, for me at least. And then, I mean, I think it's probably especially shocking to me knowing that these are Rogers drivers because, I mean, he's the captain. Like, he has such a high level at which he operates. So I really hope that if he didn't already, he had planned to have a driver's meeting and sit down and be like, what the fuck? Because bashing into people is expensive for them too. It's not just expensive for everyone else. And you don't want to be, especially now in this new era with GTP, you don't want to be that team because it is such a high level and it's new and everyone's trying to like figure it out. So I think those were like my two kind of crazy big takeaways. I did love to see Scott McLaughlin hoisting that trophy at the end. I'm really glad it came together for them. Let's see. Anything else I can think of? Oh, still reveling in the fact that I correctly picked the 74 to win, even though we're not talking about LMP3s anymore. Although, while we're here, I want to touch just for a second um, on F1 Fantasy because that was crazy with what was happening with Fernando Alonso with the whole penalty non penalty situation. The FIA has to get it together because that was really embarrassing. Um, but in the end, he got his podium, I think, like he should, and earned me a lot of points. I got a lot of points yesterday, which I needed. So I'm very happy about that. But yeah, that was kind of a mess in itself. Um, the FIA and Formula One. It's not a new thing for people to say this, but they really gotta like get it together with stuff like that. Because you gotta be assessing penalties when they happen at the moment. You can't be waiting for so long. But yeah, I think that was kind of every like the main points I wanted to hit. The next, I think I have an idea in my head of what's going to happen the next time Emo and I are able to stream together. So I think we might maybe do something a little old school. And by old school, I mean something that we did consistently last year that we haven't um, had a chance to do yet. So we might be doing that, and then we'll probably delve more into our fantasy league since we'll be together. Um, but yeah, I think that's kind of it. Higher driving standards, please. Maybe we eliminate some LMP3s. Um, I don't want to say it, but like, Roger, tell your drivers to get their shit together. And yeah, which also that kind of makes it like a little awkward because I had plans to do some Lego builds coming up, and I think it's in here. I order enough Lego so they send me magazines. Um, yeah. they made a Lego version of the 963, and I was gonna build it on stream, but now I don't know if I want to do that because I don't, I can't support the actions. So yeah, that's a little awkward. I gotta decide what I want to do about that. Because it is really cool and it's something I'd like to have on the shelf, but not if they're gonna drive like that. So I might not do that. I might build some other things. Um, but yeah, more Lego builds coming. Biggest takeaway of the day: hydroplanes are cool. Hydroplane racing is so fun. H1 Unlimited, call me. Let's hang out. I'm local. You're local. It would be the most fun. Um, but yeah, I want to really say that we appreciate you guys for watching and following along and hanging out. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.